The health status of President Muhammadu Buhari has continued to gather criticisms from Nigerians from all quarters. A lot of individuals questioning his ability to perform his duties, his constitutional duties as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. For some, drawing comparisons with the incapacitated President of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe, others scared of a repeat of 2009 when the then President of Nigeria, Umaru Yar'Adua, of blessed memory, died as sitting president over prolonged health challenges. For many, the spiral effects of his death, without a clear handover to the then president, to the then vice president rather, of Nigeria, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, the usurpation of the zoning system of Nigeria to the northern Nigeria, which produced the late Yar'Adua as president, the breached understanding of Goodluck Jonathan not contesting in the 2011 elections, so the northern Nigeria could complete the allotted zoning system for an additional term, and then the many other issues which Nigeria as a country has not put to rest. Now, the big question revolves around invoking the rule of law and principle of building a strong democracy as against strong individuals. Joining me on this discussion today is no other than Mr. Dipo Olayoku. He is a political analyst and, of course, a very sound Nigerian. Before we go into the main focus for today, we'll go on a quick break, and when we return, trending stories, and of course, the main focus for the day. We'll be right back. Thank you, and you're welcome, and this is to Crossfire. I still have Mr. Dipo Olayoku in the studio, and of course, he'll be doing great justice to the discussion today. Now, before we go into the main focus for the program today, we'll quickly take a look at some trending stories on the hour. Now, the first on my list, the governor of Bayelsa State, Mr. Serike Dixon, has commended the federal government for its decision to set up modular refineries in the Niger Delta region. Remember, we brought the story last week at the backdrop of some of the discussions which the federal government was looking to have to incorporating modular refineries, particularly as a way to addressing the Niger Delta issue. Now, Mr. Dixon described the decision as a brilliant idea that would not only create more jobs, but would also increase the economic fortunes of Nigeria. According to him, the refineries will also curb the illegal refining of petroleum products, which has been on for years, and reduce casualties associated with such endeavors. According to him, his administration will also establish 3 modular refineries in each of the 3 senatorial zones of the state, which will also translate to 9 modular refineries to be sited in the state. Also further to this story, yesterday, the federal government of Nigeria, through the Minister of State for Petroleum, Dr. Ibe Kachuku, said the government will revoke the licenses given to individuals and corporate organizations for the establishment of private refineries, but were not utilized. According to, so far, I think the administration of former President of Nigeria, President Olusegun Obasanjo, in a bid to diversify the oil and gas sector, gave licenses to a lot of private individuals and corporate entities. But of course, very few individuals have cashed in on that opportunity. Second on my list, yesterday, President Muhammadu Buhari was again absent from the Federal Executive Council meeting, now which was ongoing at the Presidential Villa. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo presided over the meeting, which started at about 11 a.m. Now, this is the third time the president will be missing in action from presiding over the meeting. No official reason was given on the president's absence, and as at the time, that information was made available to the public. Last on my list, my president's health is not bad. And this statement was made by Aisha Buhari herself. Now, according to the wife of the president and First Lady of Nigeria, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, on Tuesday, she did say that President Muhammadu Buhari's health was not as bad as it was being perceived in some quarters. According to Mrs. Buhari, which, according to the message which she posted on her Facebook and Twitter handle, she did say that her husband will continue to carry out his constitutional responsibilities as president of Nigeria without any hindrance. And she further, thanked, of course, Nigerians for their support and, gathered also that people should keep praying and supporting his administration. And of course, this would bring me to the fore of today's discussion. Mr. Dipo, is there anything in accordance with the oath of office which President Muhammadu Buhari swore May 2015. Do you think Mr. President's absence from the Federal Executive Council meeting has probably breached the oath of office?
No. The Federal Executive Council meeting is already there in the Constitution, because it did not even talk about FEC. The Constitution talked about Council of Ministers, that they shall be holding meeting periodically. And
but the FEC meeting is also
Council
of Ministers.
That's what I'm saying, that the Constitution did not talk about FEC but the Constitution knows Council of Ministers. And we are the one that is calling it Federal Executive Council.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, so that because the question you ask is based on the Constitution.
Yes.
And then the oath of office.
The oath of office.
Then the oath of office is that he will carry out his function diligently to the best of his ability and in line with the Constitution.
Yes.
Then how do you now determine to the best of his ability? I have watched let me use the word drama, going on around the president's health. And at times I ask myself, yes, there's the need for us to be concerned about the health of the president, because at least even if you have a friend or a sibling that is under the weather, you should be concerned. Moreover, when you are talking of the president of a country. But you see, my worry as a person, by virtue of my upbringing and training, is that we have found ourselves in this situation. How do we take advantage of the situation? We have a constitution we are operating. And the Constitution, those who drafted the Constitution took a cue from other lands, especially America, where we copied the presidential system of government we are operating, that there shall be a vice president that will run with the president.
So and that's a joint ticket?
Yes, when you're talking of a vice president, that means can perform the function of the president, or that's when the president is not around, or any other assignments as may be assigned to him by the president. Now we have a president the president is sick, no doubt. You can call it whatever. Some people say it's recuperating. But the point is the president is sick. And perhaps those who drafted the Constitution emphasize this, that it is not every time that the president will be available.
That's true.
That is why they said the vice president shall perform the function of the president when he's not around, or any other function assigned to him by the president. And that means that even if the president is around, but he's not available, the vice president can do his job. And they went a step further, that if for any reason the president is not going to be around, either as a result of leave or anything, he can then hand over to the vice president, who becomes an acting president. And the process is outlined in the Constitution by transmitting a letter to the National Assembly, informing them that, okay, henceforth this guy is going to be performing and going to be the acting president, which means the vice president has been elevated.
Yes.
And the Constitution says the president will not take over the responsibility again until he comes back, transmit another letter to the National Assembly that I'm back, yes. I want to take my power back.
But now let's look at, sorry to cut you short now, let's look at what is happening now. I mean, based on the scenario we have painted already, Nigeria right now is already divided along religious and ethnic lines. Unfortunately, since after the 2015 elections,
even before
but it became more prominent
during the
presidential election. Now, it's become so bad to the point now that Nigerians expect President Muhammadu Buhari to attend every state function. People were wondering and asking, some having to refer to the president as a ghost president, which, I mean, is ridiculous. But however, people have forgotten now that the presidency is made up of the vice president and then the president itself. So if President Muhammadu Buhari right now goes ahead to delegate certain functions, certain assignments to the vice president, don't you think that would probably, at this point in time, create more room for more nefarious statements to be made as regards his health status?
When you say the president is missing in action, then you consider what are the functions of the president? What are the responsibilities of the president? to give direction to the government. That is his primary responsibility, to give direction. And how do you give direction? You can give direction by orally. Yeah. You can do it via telephone service, or written form. That is everything just ceremonial. The FEC meeting, don't you know that how do government officials interact? They interact through memo. Not until when they sit down, which is characteristic of them in the FEC, what do? They award contracts. But the way government officials communicate is through memo. As a minister, you send memo to the president through the secretary of the government of the federation. The president looks at your memo. If there's any need for him to invite you, he invites you to his office. Come and brief me. If there's no need, he communicates the memo back to you through the SDF, who happens to be the clearinghouse. Then the question you have is, how do we now say the president is missing in action? Have you ever found any vacuum in all this action you are talking about? Yes, Nigeria should be apprehensive because of our past experience under Yar'Adua / Jonathan. But you know what really caused the problem of Yar'Adua-Jonathan era was because as at the time the president was leaving Nigeria, there was no constitutionally transferred means of getting power to Jonathan. That was why that scenario became an issue. Now we don't have that scenario.
But that also gave birth to a lot of other issues. Issues as regards also zoning, and that's another question. I would look at later. But don't you think? I mean, without having to delve into that issue, anyways. But now let's quickly look at this also. Do you think there are certain persons within the presidency who, for whatever reason, do not want President Muhammadu Buhari to probably step out of the limelight and hand over to the vice president for him to take control of a lot of primary assignments? Because we remember when the president was away and then the vice president was in control of things, because of the accolade and then the praises which the vice president received as regards his his dexterity and then the results, the positive results he got, do you really think the persons within the presidency that want the president to remain in control without delegating some responsibilities to the vice?
By virtue of my training as a journalist and the school of thought that I belong to, yes, I don't believe so much in speculations. My own journalism is seeing is believing. Yeah. Not when some people just sit down, conjecture stories and stuff like that. You know, it's like people have to look at since this administration came into being and the way the president has allowed the vice president to fester. What did he do? The first thing the president did when he became the president was, okay, I'm going to set up an economic team. And my vice president is going to be the head of the economic team. The first vice president didn't study economics, though he attended London School of Economics and Political Science, where he had his master's or so. But he never studied economics. And the president said, he's going to be the head of my economic team. Yes, there's something they call the National Economic Council in the Constitution, comprising the vice president, the governors, and some other staff, and some other government officials. The vice president, by virtue of the Constitution, is the chairman of that council. But it is different from the president's own economic team. Under President Jonathan, the head of the economic team was the Minister for Finance and the coordinating Minister for Economy. Under Mr. Chief Obasanjo, I think to some extent, this woman played that role too. That's Okonjo-Iweala. But the power was not concentrated in here alone. Under Obasanjo, we have Professor Soludo. Yes. We have other economists that were sharing that power with Okonjo-Iweala. But for the president, the current president, to say no, my vice president is going to be the chairman of my economic team. The president, right from the beginning, has vested the vice president with so much power. For the first time in the history of Nigeria, the president was traveling and transmitted a letter to the National Assembly. I am going to hand over to this man as the acting president. The president was away. And you see, as a journalist, there are certain things you take note of how it happens. When the president came, and the very first meeting they had, we saw it, where the president said, yes, I am back, but I'm going to take it very easy. I have a competent vice president who is going to be doing much of the work. And the president didn't stop like that as that. He said, while I have experience and age on my side, this guy has vibrancy and academics on his side. So whatever anybody is saying, the president has vested the vice president with so much power. I listened to the vice president on the radio yesterday. They said he came to Lagos and he was at a forum called Platform. I listened to the vice president for about 45 minutes. The vice president I saw yesterday was not under any pressure. The guy is having fun. The guy is talking as somebody who is actually in charge. There's a council, they call it the Presidential Enabling Business something council, or put under who? Under the vice president. So if anybody is coming up with a story, to me, it is a story that the vice president is under any pressure, there's a cabal. I wouldn't say there's no cabal, but to me, the vice president I am seeing, the vice president I saw yesterday is on YouTube. He doesn't appear to be under any stress. This man is actually in charge based on somebody who is behind him. Like we said, the president is sick. There's no doubt about it. The extent of his sickness, nobody knows. So when I laugh when some lawyers are saying National Assembly should activate, I said they activate what? Is it impeachment? Impeachment says gross misconduct. Or is it a process of declaring him unfit? The National Assembly cannot do this. It's only under Section 144. It is only the Council of Ministers can do it.
Exactly.
That is when National Assembly now takes over. If you go further in Section 144, Section 144 says permanently incapacity.
Yeah.
And do you think this president, as you are saying, forget about all these stories?
Don't you think now, to a large extent, I mean, this would also put to short naysayers if the Federal Executive Council tries also to activate Section 144, of course, the medical team will be comprised. All they need to do is examine Mr. President. And if they certify that he is fit to remain in office, and then it's passed, and then everybody, keeps mute permanently on this. I mean, don't you think to a large extent that will help?
There must be a cause for an action. On what basis are they going to base that action?
Number one, on the speculations also.
You don't act on speculation at that level of governance.
To a large extent, especially in the social media, we've had some scrupulous individuals from all quarters coming out to say all sorts of negative things. Oh, if anything happens to President Muhammadu Buhari, XYZ, which shouldn't be. So don't you think to a large extent, I mean, the people of Nigeria deserve also to know that the president is hale and healthy. And of course, the people also deserve to show some level of understanding and not be panicky. So in addressing this, I mean, the FEC can go ahead and activate 144 just to calm nerves.
The people of Nigeria needs to know. But the truth, the question you ask is, what is the truth? The truth to some people is their own truth. We are all in this country. When they were showing us pictures of the president hosting even the Archbishop of Canterbury, some people were still telling us that the president is dead. Some people even say he has been buried in South Africa. So who now determines the truth? The truth is, according to some people, what they want to hear. Yeah. The president is sick. Some people said he's being fed through intravenous or whatever.
Yeah, it means.
And you begin to ask yourself, why should we go to that extent? The wife of the president was at a function on Friday around Kano or Kaduna, where she distributed empowerment program. And I just pointed it at a friend. I said, come, do you think the president would be this ill and this woman would be doing this? Interestingly, the woman came out on Tuesday and said, no, yes, my husband is sick, but it's not as bad as some people are speculating. So what I think we should do is, the president has provided the platform for Nigeria, for governance to continue. Yesterday, there was a Federal Executive Council meeting. And typical of the FEC meeting in Nigeria, what did they do? They awarded contracts. Does that look to you as a government that is seriously ill? I mean, I'm talking of government now. The government is working. The government is moving. The president, what do you need to do is, oh, President, we are going to meet tomorrow. Is there anything you want to contribute to the FEC meeting? And the vice president told us something. He said even when the president was away, because as a journalist, there are certain things you'll be taking note of. He said when the president was away, that he was briefing the president every day. He said he got to a point, the president said, no, you don't have to come to me. Just go and take decisions. That means, what else do you want
have
from
a lot of harmony.
Rapport and harmony and confidence in the vice president? I think what Nigeria should do now, because all this noise we are making, we are the one creating unnecessary controversy.
Are you sure we're the ones creating? Because also Nigerians also look back at 2009, not too far away. Now, that will also bring me to the next issue now. Okay. Zoning. Now, the principle of zoning and rotation has been on in Nigeria since the Second Republic, 1979, and it's been used, for both progressive and retrogressive means also in Nigeria, particularly by some political actors in the country taking advantage. Unfortunately, a lot of persons will also say that zoning in Nigeria has deprived intellectuals those who are patriotic, those who have the capacity to lead the country, it has deprived them of the mandate of achieving their dreams. Now, you look at zoning in the country. Can we practically say there is any advantage of zoning? Because if you look at the 2009 scenario, what happened clearly? A lot of individuals, particularly those from the northern Nigeria, said no. The then Vice President, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, having to step in for the president, that will also mean the time zoned to them for the presidency will be cut short. So those were a lot of issues that also led to the build-up of the 2015 elections. Unfortunately, right now, as regards the health status of President Muhammadu Buhari, even though we right now may not have any clear indication to be worried, but people are also saying, look, God forbid anything happens to President Muhammadu Buhari, this will also mean cutting short the zoning system. So don't you think zoning principally, can we pinpoint and say there's any advantage, any clear-cut advantage of zoning in Nigeria?
Yes, because every society look at its own peculiarities to design what will suit its own environment. Because by virtue of the configuration of Nigeria, if zoning, if properly utilized, can be an advantage. How do I mean?
Okay. I mean, yes, I seem to disagree with you.
Look at the voting pattern in Nigeria. There is this false sense of belonging that some Nigerians have. That, okay, the moment somebody comes from my own environment, from my own section of the country, I am fulfilled. I call this false sense of belonging. I am a Yoruba. Obasanjo was the president of Nigeria for 8 years. He was the head of state of Nigeria for 3 years and 8 months. You go to Abeokuta and you ask yourself, is there any difference? Except when this man came there, that's the current governor. That is when Abeokuta is being given serious facelift. Obasanjo was the head of state of Nigeria for 11 years. Is there anything?
To enjoy more of these our Ogbonge videos when you just watch, press this button to subscribe on top of our YouTube page. You go love her.